Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. I'm unboxing a collection of guitars. These are not mine. 2 of them are going to be for sale, but this is actually a viewer of the show's collection. I decided to split it up into 2 unboxing episodes. I mean, technically it's an uncasing episode, but hey, I thought this would be fun. I get offers to do this quite often, but generally they're not local, and I tell them, no, it's not worth shipping your guitars just for a video. There's too much that can go wrong, but since this guy was local, he drives through to see his mom, Larry decided he wanted to share his guitars with us. So let's start with this one. This looks like a Gibson Memphis style case to me, so we must have some sort of a semi-hollow guitar in here. Oh, the king of the semi-hollows. Kind of 355-esque, but no, this is a BB King Lucille. But apparently not just any BB King Lucille. It's one that BB's actually signed. That's pretty darn cool. Let's give it a quick dusting right here. And there we go, isn't she looking beautiful now? So BB King Lucille's, kind of like an ES355 as we were talking about, but they have customized appointments to them. So we've got the ebony fretboard with the mother of pearl block inlays, those are nice. But instead of a custom emblem on the headstock, it actually says Lucille because that's what BB King named these guitars. There's a pretty interesting story behind where that name came from, but we'll save that topic for another day. But you're going to notice it does not have F-holes on it anywhere. And I've heard that BB wanted to do that to cut down on some of the feedback while he was playing. So that means we can no longer wire this up through the F-holes. So on the back of a BB King Lucille, it actually has a control access plate, which you don't normally have on a semi-hollow constructed guitar like this. So if you're a modder and a tinkerer and you can live with the fact that it says Lucille up here, these are great guitars in that aspect for modders. But we also have a Veritone switch down here. You can check out my 355 review of the Chuck Berry model if you want to hear what those things sound like. But then you've just got your controls for your volume and your tone. Beautiful gold hardware with tortoiseshell pickguard. Hopefully that's not real celluloid, otherwise it'll start to discolor the finish. And then, of course, you get the really cool TP6 tailpiece. Now, BB signed a lot of these, so if you ever went to one of his concerts, he would do one up for you. But unfortunately, we lost BB not too long ago. So we kind of saw the price of Lucille's go crazy for a little bit, but now we have the Lucille Legacy model within Gibson's new collection, which I do want to review that. It's kind of cool if anybody wants to New Guitar Day one of those. It's got Super 400 inlays instead of the custom blocks. But these things have been in production for a really long time. We're talking since the late 80s they've been in production on and off. There's a whole bunch of different models. Perhaps my favorite run is actually kind of the more exotic colors from the Gem series. I really want a purple one in my own collection. But this one, let's see, what year is this one? It looks like 1997. So not a super early one, not a super late one, just a nice one. However, this is definitely not the original case. But Larry doesn't care because he is telling me he likes guitars as not only a collection piece, but as a playing piece. So he'll make some small modifications, which you'll see to some of his instruments. But he was telling me he had just purchased this one not too long ago, so he just wanted to share it with everybody. And I gotta say, that is a nice piece. BB knew how to sign them big and large. So now on to guitar number 2. This one I believe he is willing to sell. You can check them out on his Reverb shop. I'll leave a link in the description. So inside here, it looks a little bit smaller, somewhere between like the mid 2000s to anywhere as soon as like 2019-ish is when they were using cases like these. Nice Canadian made ones and or Costa Rican reptiles. Oh, wow. Okay, so he told me he was bringing me a Supreme. But this thing is way different than any other Supreme I've seen. Like, I've had my 125th anniversary Supremes, and that's a really nice bright cherry sunburst color. But this one, you can tell that it's yellowed over and kind of faded out, so it makes it a really nice honeyburst-like color. That's nice. I'm definitely glad I waited to open that case so I could catch my first impression on that. He wanted to show me some of his favorites, but we'll see those in the next episode of documenting his collection. So, Supremes. Just in case you're not familiar with these, you can check out this review and demo right here to learn more in-depth details. But this was the highest-end Gibson USA guitar at a period of time. They don't currently make these things, probably because they're pretty expensive to do, because look, oh man, that's nice. I think he's asking like $4,000 on this. Trust me, guys, it's well worth that money. This thing is a very, very nice Supreme. So these are larger Les Pauls than normal. These are great for guys that like big archtop guitars, but they want something maybe a little bit smaller in Les Paul format, because you've got the carved maple top, that this one dances like crazy. Not all of them do that. And then you also have that on the back. So it's a carving, it's a little bit thicker this way. I've got the dimensions in those reviews and demos. They're just really interesting guitars, but then they chamber them in a way that makes them sound quite nice. But you might be saying, how do you wire it up? There's no F-holes on these. There are Supreme Florentines out there that do have F-holes, but there's no back plate on this either. So how do you wire these things? It's through the side. They have this really large output jack. Now that might seem really difficult to do the work. I mean, it's a little bit more difficult than normal, but it's not impossible. And something else that's unique about Supremes is the fact that they have gold frets. Now, the more and more you play the gold frets, sometimes they're not as golden as maybe they once were. But this one has a really cool yellowed out vibe. But some personal modifications on this one is he said he put one of them Stu-Mac roller bridges on it because he just prefers the way that those things feel and play. Good for tuning stability and intonation. This is nice. I would work a trade deal on this. It's worth every penny of what he's asking. Supremes have really gone up in value lately too. I remember when these were like $2,000 to $2,800 guitars, and now it's like 28 is the floor, and really nice ones can sell for $4,000 to $45,000. And then you get the really high-end limited edition ones that sometimes even fetch up to 10 grand. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for bringing that. That was a nice treat. That's one of the nicest Supremes I've seen from regular production. My trans black one was nice, don't get me wrong, but that one just has a really cool colored hue to it. So which one shall we take a look at next? Let's see this one. We've got some sort of a gator case. Is it a Gibson? Is it not a Gibson? I don't know. Let's go ahead and find out. Inside here sleeps. Oh, okay. Yep, I remember. So, this is actually from a company called Dax & Co., where they like to take guitars, generally, you know, slightly lower end Gibsons, and they relic them, they make them look cool, and obviously this one's going after Neil Young's Old Black. And they did a pretty good job on this thing. I mean, it's very aged looking, and that's exactly what they were going for. Now, it looks to me like they added the crown, and they just left the original Gibson logo alone. They kind of roughed up the edges. That's interesting. They must have just took like a router, just zooped right along the edges. I'm not really familiar with Neil's actual guitar, so I don't know if they did a good job or not as far as the relicing and aging wear. But it looks like to get the binding effect, they just kind of took some of the finish off along the edge to expose that maple cap. So that's a cheap, inexpensive way to get a binding look. There's no binding on the fretboard or anything like that, but it's really the pickup layout on Neil's guitar that's interesting. So we've got a P90 in the neck and a Firebird in the bridge pickup. But it looks like we have some sort of a mini humbucker surround on it. So I'm not sure if what's in here is actually a Firebird pickup or if it's a mini Hummer. But then we got a Bigsby added onto this. You can see the original stop bar tailpiece holes right there. And then Larry was telling me this switch is a direct out for the bridge pickup. So if you don't want volumes and tones in your signal, that just gives you like a direct out, similar to like on the Les Paul Moderns where they have that push-pull pot that gives you that direct to bridge pickup. Now, is there an official Gibson Old Black out there? No. You know, apparently Neil didn't want to do a signature one, if I remember that story correctly. So until the day that happens, you just kind of have to buy guitars like these. But then we've got some sort of like a white stripe going up the back. But this started life as a 2016, probably a Les Paul tribute or something, it'd be my guess. But I remember seeing this one on Reverb a year or two ago, or maybe they make multiples, I'm sure they do. So kind of interesting if you're into a relic guitar. Maybe not my favorite from his collection though. But to be fair, it's kind of hard to top a signed Lucille and a ridiculously nice Les Paul Supreme. So now we've got one guitar left. This is also for sale. The Neil Young's not for sale, by the way. So again, you can check out that link in the description. It'll take you to his Reverb page. He seems like a pretty nice, straightforward guy. So I told him, you don't need to pay me to consign these things. Let's just unbox them for fun, and then I'll lead people to you. I truly believe Larry will take good care of you. So let's see what is in here. A black case shroud. So that should put us in the early 2000s. Oh, this is a much thinner material than normal. Oh, all right, so this is a ES-137 custom. I'll be honest, I don't think I realized these things existed. I remember the ES-137 because they kind of have an interesting like star moon shape thing at the 12th fret. I was talking to Larry, he was like, yeah, I hate that thing. That's why I had to find a custom because he likes the uniform look and he really likes the ebony fretboards. This is another one that has the split triangle inlays. Now, if you really like these inlays, you can find them on a few other things. The first model that comes to my head is actually the Gibson US-1, this weird super Strat. You can check out this video if you need to learn more on it. So to find this on like a semi-hollow Florentine cut weird guitar thing like this, that's pretty interesting. This really reminds me of a 335 that got away from me. I really like this whole customed out blinged version of this ES-137. But this thing is a lot bigger than I was expecting. I thought this was a thin line. Maybe that's a difference between the custom and the standard, but I'd have to do some more research on that myself. And the top is particularly attractive on this one. It's extra moving. I'm not sure if the lights are really doing this one justice. That is nice. We've got some interesting finish checking though, just right here. Some of it stemming from the tailpiece, but then some that are just like in random locations. I haven't seen finish checking like that before. It's kind of interesting looking, but man, this is a heavy guitar. I wonder if that's why he's selling it. It's pretty chunky for a semi-hollow. Maybe this has something else going on with it. I mean, that seems to have quite a large center block just looking in the F-hole right there. But it appears this also has some sort of a baritone switch. 2 volumes, 2 tones. And hey, even check out the back. That's really nice. I'll have to do some more research on this model. It's got to be heavy for a reason. Maybe they have a more thick top on these or something, because that definitely has way more figuring than I'm used to seeing. And I really like this, the red burst on the back of the neck. You've got the black and then the reds. It appears to be a 3-piece maple neck. You get a little bit of figuring in within it. This one appears to be from the year 2003, so that lines up perfectly with the case. Awesome. Now, if you're interested in this one, I think the only downside condition-wise, I mean, besides some of the finish check stuff, is it's got the typical marks around like the heel. Like somebody's definitely been playing, or that's probably actually from a strap actually. So you can see that area is like worn through to the wood. And you've got the typical marks like right around the binding, pretty much all over the instrument. Right there's a good example. But speaking of which, hey, even the sides have some pretty good figuring to them. That's a cool guitar. Thank you, Larry, for sharing this one with me. I wasn't necessarily looking forward to this one the most, but that's because I was thinking it was the lower end one. That's nice. So, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed checking out Larry's collection with me today. This is the first 4. 2 of them are for sale. Again, you can check them out on his Reverb page. I'm not affiliated with the sale. He was just bringing other guitars over for fun anyways. So, in a couple of days, we will see the rest of his collection. And if you thought these things were cool, imagine what he's keeping, right? Trust me, you guys are going to like the next episode. All right, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good day. All that stuff. Goodbye.